But, Chris, this is amazing. It culminated last night in the Jets hiring Adam Gase. And something that occurred to me last hour, of the 6 vacancies, 5 of them, at the time they were filled, the guys who were hired, those teams were competing with no one else at that moment. The only guy who had another suitor at the time he was hired was the guy who's regarded as the least qualified of the bunch, Cliff Kingsbury. The Jets wanted him when the Cardinals hired him. Right. The other 5 hires, at the time of the hiring, there was no one else out there, but the hires have still happened in quick fashion.
Well, they have. They certainly have. And I was really intrigued. I had heard some of the same things that you had, that Cliff Kingsbury was certainly high on the list for the New York Jets. And, hey, honestly, I think the Arizona Cardinals saved the New York Jets by getting Cliff Kingsbury. And we talked about that yesterday. I think potential.
But you mean no disrespect to Cliff Kingsbury?
I don't. There's potential there. I would have not liked him to see him be a head coach yet. I don't think that was necessarily best for him to reach his total top potential. But regardless, I do think this is the right hire for the New York Jets. That's where the point is here. Adam Gase has proven that his offenses really have everything, and that, of course, he can work with quarterbacks. I mean, he's made Ryan Tannehill look pretty good down there in Miami. He kind of reinvigorated Jay Cutler's career when he went to Chicago, and Jay Cutler had one of the best years of his career. He was in Denver with Peyton Manning and even the Tim Tebow experiment and all of that. He's a tough coach whose offense has everything. And if I'm a Jets fan or a Jets person in the organization, the other thing I like about this guy, other than that he's whooped their team a whole lot when he was the Dolphins coach, he whooped the Jets all the time and believe he was 5-1. He's not afraid of New England. And I think that should be part of your resume. He has shown that he can give New England a tough time. And I think that should be part of any conversation of hiring a coach in the AFC East.
You mentioned Tebow. I had Gase on the PFT PM podcast a year and a half ago, and he told me the story about what happened in Denver when they decided to go with Tim Tebow as the starter. And it was scour film of Air Force and every other run-based offensive attack and put together a new playbook on the fly to suit the skills and abilities and cover up the weaknesses of Tim Tebow. That's what a coach does.
Yes.
And what this coach is now going to do, he's got Sam Darnold, a budding franchise quarterback, a guy that we saw great things out of late in the year. You will see Gase immediately lock on to Sam Darnold, promote him, defend him, encourage. He will make him into the guy. He will be Joe Namath in the eyes of Adam Gase. And then the challenge will be for Darnold to become Joe Namath. But Gase will do everything in his power to make Sam Darnold into Joe Namath.
Yeah, agreed. I think it's like the thing I like about Adam Gase, it's a little Bruce Arians this way, just because he really, I don't want to say becomes buddies with the quarterbacks, but he makes the quarterback feel like he's in the fight with you, that we're doing this together. And if things go bad, he was a staunch defender of Ryan Tannehill at times when people were getting
over the top.
Oh, yeah, over the top.
It was embarrassing at times.
You're right. But at times, he was right. Like, let's say 2 years ago when Tannehill was playing against the Cincinnati Bengals on a Thursday night and they couldn't protect anybody and they had all these offensive issues. He said, we got offensive issues. I have offensive issues. It's not Ryan Tannehill. Let's everybody back off that. So that is great news for any quarterback to know you have a coach that's going to defend you and not always make the good and the bad about you. And I do think he will be a great fit for a Sam Darnold. His offense has everything you want in it as a play caller, and he can adjust to people's talents on the fly, which I've always been impressed with as well.
Only a small handful of quarterbacks can be that John Wayne type of a leader. If the guy isn't naturally wired to do it, it is incumbent on his coach to make him that guy. Best example of that not happening, Kirk Cousins in Washington, right? How do you expect the locker room to respond to Kirk Cousins as a leader if you're not going to make a financial commitment to him? If you're not going to stand up and tell anyone who will listen, this is our guy, not this ambivalent 1 year at a time crap. This is our guy. And I think the same thing's happening with Cousins in Minnesota. Who is pushing back against the narrative that Kirk Cousins isn't really all that good? Does Mike Zimmer do that? Did he spend any time last week at his end-of-season press conference pointing out that Kirk Cousins is our guy? He's phenomenal. He's the future. We're behind him 1,000%. He is great. It's on us to be great around him. No. And that's what you need. If you're not wired to be Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, etc., you need your coach to push that. And that's what Gase will do with Darnold. And with a young quarterback, it may pull Darnold into that natural leadership role.
Yeah, I think that's a very valid point. And you know, he's a no-nonsense guy, too. I mean, I think that's the thing he doesn't make excuses for himself or his football team. You know, even at the end of the year when people were talking about, you know, what about this in your team? And he just, you know, his hat's pulled down low. Oh, who cares? Who cares what they say? We lost. You know, I think his demeanor is going to go well over here with the New York Jets as well. And the other thing I'll say is this, you know, the New York Jets, have they ever hired an offensive mind as a head coach? I mean, this is the first time we've really seen this. You know, I was thinking about this, and I pulled up the list of hires from the New York Jets, and I said, okay, let's go through this. Whoa, okay, it's Bill Parcells, defensive coach. Belichick, for if day, defensive coach. Al Bro, defensive coach. Herm Edwards, defensive coach. Mangini, defensive coach. Rex Ryan, defensive coach. Todd Bowles, defensive coach. So we have finally broke that run of defensive coordinators and got a different kind of feel and genre in the Jets organization. And I think it's the proper time with the young quarterback and Sam Darnold, who certainly showed a lot of big-time potential towards the end of the year when he got healthy and made some plays.
One last point on Gase, because we got a lot to jam into this segment.
Yeah.
There's been this narrative that he benefited from Peyton Manning because he just rode sidecar while Manning controlled everything in Denver. Listen, first of all, Manning reportedly called Jets CEO Christopher Johnson and made a pitch for Gase.
Right.
Secondly, Manning wasn't going to tolerate an offensive coordinator who can't keep up with him.
Exactly
Gase
right,
kept
Mike.
up with him.
Yes.
When Manning wanted Gase was there. They challenged each other. They pushed each other. And somebody explained to me recently that when you're dealing with a franchise quarterback, what you have, it's this give and take relationship where sometimes the quarterback makes a throw that makes the coach look good, and other times the coach comes up with a play that results in an easy throw, easy touchdown that makes the quarterback look good.
Right.
That's the symbiosis between coach and franchise quarterback, and Gase has been through it with Manning, with Cutler, that weird year with Tebow, not that he was ever a franchise quarterback, trying to prop up Ryan Tannehill. Everything, I think, is working in the right direction and moving in the right direction for the Jets now, other than the fact that we've got 50 years of futility, big picture in New York. I think Gase, if the fans aren't going to like it, but you know what? Eagles fans didn't like Doug Peterson when he was hired 3 years ago either.
Yeah, well, what did they want? That's the other thing I'd say about this. I mean, tell me some better options, Jets fans. I mean, again, to go back to the point with defensive coaches, this is the first coach since Bill Parcells that's actually been a head coach before that's taking over for the New York Jets. All these other guys were first-time head coaches. And I don't think there was that many great candidates out there that were proven on the offensive side of the ball in the NFL. And I think your point about Peyton Manning is very real, because if he couldn't keep up with Peyton Manning would have exposed him somehow, some way. And I know that relationship had a great give and take. And Peyton Manning would give Adam Gase, projects as he'd leave the building at night and go, tomorrow morning I want to know the answers to these things when you're studying film all night and blah, blah, blah. And Gase always delivered. Gase even tinkered with the offense, knowing, man, I got an older Peyton Manning here who can't throw the ball down the field as much. And they became masters at wide receiver screens and pick plays and things like that. So, again, playing to the strength of the quarterback is a great reason why you hire a guy like Adam Gase.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.